I'm always getting it wrong, and I'm always having to learn. I'm a lawyer. Didn't know anything about lawyer, first lawyer in my family. And I look back at my trajectory, and it could have gone so many different ways. I have friends that I grew up with that I could easily have gone that trajectory. First attorney I met, particularly of color, was when I went to law school. I was in an apartment in undergrad. I was hungry. My roommates, other two roommates, were going out to get something to eat. I was the last person out. The phone rang, and I remember I was hungry. It was like 6:02. I went and answered it. I'm like, kind of irritated. Who the hell is this? There's a point in time where I put in applications for law school, and there was a student at one of the colleges, the law schools that I applied to in Chicago. So you applied here, just called to ask, whatever questions you may have had. I remember getting off the phone with him at 8:22. Called 6:02. I got a phone with him at 8:22. And I remember laying down in bed, again, at the beginning of that phone call. It's an unknown dark cloud that I was entering, or dark street that I was going down. And I was fearful of what turns were going to come. After getting off the phone with him and laying back, I had a vision of me going down the street with headlights on, bright lights on, knowing what my path was, knowing what to expect. And it just made me feel more confident in what I was doing. It made me feel more qualified to be driving the car, to be going on the road that I was going to. And so I would be a really not beautiful person and when I see a law student or someone who's wanting to go to law school and they ask me about my experience, for me not to give them everything I have, probably a lot of times more than they want to hear. I always started a baseline of failure's not an option. The only option is to win or win. I'm able to go on vacations, but I have to wake up early because I can't let my clients down. I'm not as smart as most. I'm really having to, at whatever I do, conceptualize it a little bit longer to really get it and understand it. And that extra time really does leave less time for other things. And so I constantly find myself, all right, feeling like I'm, gasping for water, trying to catch my breath, constantly behind. And overall, I've kind of just seen how, in the grand scheme of things, everything works out. I remember one of the first biggest scares that I had in my life was walking to my mom's room, and she was on the side of the bed crying. I hadn't seen my mom cry too often. Found out she had a lump, and she was scared in her breast, and she was scared about the test results. And that's a situation where it's out of your control, out of her control. I wanted to comfort, I wanted to fix it. And I remember I was in band class, and over the intercom call, Navan comes to the principal's office. And what normally is a pretty short hallway from that class to the principal's office seemed to be an infinite hall of me walking, and I felt my instant palms become sweaty, heart. I literally saw it jump out of my chest. And it wasn't just that the news was, your mom said everything is fine, which was, thank goodness. But the way the secretary delivered it was so just calm and nonchalant, not knowing what that meant. But the way she said it, oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, Mom called, everything's fine. The way she said it put things in perspective. Not only is she okay, but she just made it sound like, what you worried about this anyway for. There's loved ones who have passed away, and there's other situations that didn't turn out how I'd like it to turn out. But even when it doesn't, you're still okay. Everything is going to be okay. Doesn't mean you're going to win the hearing or win the trial or not be diagnosed with cancer. Everything's going to work out means that everything is going to work out in the end, whatever that looks like, and having enough of humility to know that I don't know what that's going to look like. I just know that it will be. Instead of defining it, that may have got me in trouble at the first outset. Success looks like this, and anything less than that is defeat. I do find my schedule with more things than I normally have humanly possible time to do. 1,000 documents that I got to go through and really dissect to figure out what I'm going to access and which ones I'm going to use, etc. I can't say, oh, it's 1,000 documents. I'm tired. I'm going to go to sleep. It's just going to work out. That's going to be an epic fail. What takes the fear out of it is preparation. If it's a trial, what takes the fear out of trial and what's going to end is your preparation. I'm 100% prepared with it for it. I did everything that could be done. So win or lose, I'm satisfied. The defeats that we have are not as bad as we internalize them to be. Defeat is relative, and if something turned out less than what I expected to in the moment, I'm human, so I may feel bad. I may not go to sleep right away. I may just feel sad for a day or two. But time heals a lot of that emotion. Give it time. And with that time is understanding that, I felt defeat. I thought it was the end of the world. I thought people were going to be talking about me. But no, they're not. They've moved on. They actually didn't even realize that was defeat. In my head, the whole world knew. One of the things that I do is get outside of my own perspective. And I do think people need to do that. Get outside of what they are comfortable with. Get outside of what they've grown up, their own internal experience, and thinking that is the only way. I guess we all see other people through our own lens, through our own experiences. Other people haven't lived your life. And the things that I know well, I can't expect for someone else to know. And I can't hold them to that standard. I see it in focus groups and juries that we have all the time where we have an issue, and it's so clear to me that my client is right, the other side is wrong. What's wrong with you? How come you can't see that? And you see the jurors in the focus groups bring their life experience to the table, and their perspective is much different than how I see it. And I resist the temptation for saying that you're wrong, because their life experience is just as valid. And some, very well think that everyone has beauty. I would hope that everyone has beauty. Got me, it's all in. I feel that's inherent. That has to be right. And I guess, I don't know. I've seen so many actions, particularly recently actions that make me question it. When you see someone cursing the waiter or waitress out, and you see the waitress running around doing their best, and they're, to me, that's That's a level of decency that you've violated. I know how easy it is for me to forget, and so there's grace. There's inherent grace for me to either assume that they forgot, or they don't know. And had an experience for them to know. I know me, and I know how horrible of a person I am, and I know the type of grace I've been given. In the midst of me not living up to what I know I should be, doors still have been opened. Blessings have still have come to me in my worst times when I don't feel I've deserved it. Who am I to judge anyone else?